We're continuing our one-on-one sit-downs with some of the Ayn Rand Institute's top intellects, and joining me today is Onkar Ghate. Onkar, how are you?
Pretty good.
All right.
Happy to be here.
We have done a whole bunch of these, and we're going to do some more of these, but this is our first one-on-one. Free will is one of your wheelhouse topics, and it's one of the topics that's hot amongst my intellectual dark web crew. So, free will, take it away.
So I think to get what the basic issue is, it's free will versus determinism. And it's easier to get the determinist viewpoint, I think, first.
Okay.
The determinist viewpoint is that we and everything else in the universe is like clockwork. So you can look backward at antecedent, so prior factors, and say, given what those are, given the conditions, this is what will result, and then this is what will result, and then this is what will result. And it's all determined. So it's a line that has no deviations. There's no possibilities of anything else happening. And the free will position is that, at least when we're talking about human beings, this is not true of human beings. So when you think of them and you're trying to understand sort of cause and effect about human beings, you can't look just at antecedent factors and say, given this is his environment, this is his genetic makeup, this is what he has to do, will do, we can predict it beforehand, and it's one straight line. But why think that someone has free will, and why do you experience yourself as having free will? I think the basic phenomenon is choice. It's the fact that you make choices. And if you take seriously that it's a choice, it means you're selecting between things. You're selecting between alternatives, none of which are dictated. So by the prior circumstances, I'm doing the selecting. And if I select the A, I'm going to go off in that direction. If I select B, I go this way. If I select C, I go. So thinking of it in terms of like paths or forks in the roads, there's literally forks in the roads that you can take one or the other.
So to give the deterministic point of view the credit it deserves, let's say, or to give the devil his due, I know that I have a choice right now. I could throw this glass of water in your face or not. Now, we're both pretty sure that I'm not going to do it. The person that believes in the deterministic point of view would make the argument that the reason I'm not going to do it is because of all the prior stuff that has happened to me, that we know that I'm just not going to do it, basically. Now, I guess I could do it, and that would cause a real problem for them, but then they would argue, well, then the stuff that happened before all led me to being the type of person that would do it.
Yeah.
You would say that is sort of irrelevant, that it's... right? Like, well, it's basically up to this moment and choice. The choice is here, right here and now.
I don't think it's completely irrelevant, because I think it's not that your environment and your genes and your prior choices and what you've made of yourself aren't relevant to what you're going to do now and what you're going to choose now. So I don't think choice is magic. Sort of, you've got all these kind of random choices before you. You could throw the water in my face. You could stab a pen in my neck. And you could list on and on, like all kinds of things.
Yeah, oddly most violent choices, which is interesting. Yeah.
Most of which but here's the reason to bring it up like that. Most of which I don't think you're going to do. And not even like there's some slim possibility that is, but that's because of who you are. If I was sitting beside a guy convicted of murder, and so I might be wondering about that. Or if I'm Islamist, and I'm very critical of the whole Islamic movement and so on, if I'm faced, I would be worried about that. But in neither case do I think it's determined. So you have choices that come from your background, including what you think and what you value. And we're trying to have a conversation, so I'm not expecting you to throw water in my face.
Right.
If, for instance, somebody was threatening you, and I don't know about that, it's in the back, and if you don't do this, they're going to harm your child or something, and you might do it, but that's very different circumstances. But so a person's character, I think, is part of, when thinking of the choices they're going to make, you have to think, what is their character? Which comes, I think, ultimately in significant part from prior choices. But that you have control over your character viewed long term. And that puts constraints on what you're going to choose. So you might not be choosing, are you going to throw water in my face or not? But you're thinking about ideas, I could take the conversation in this direction or that direction. I could ask this as the next question, or this, and that I do think you have to choose. And it's not dictated by the prior circumstances. The reason one happens or the other happens, you ask question A or question B, is because you thought about it and decided, oh, no, I'm asking question B. And that's a choice that you're making, that it's not the prior factors, the antecedent factors, and so on. And it's a really important issue. I think it's important. Like, it's not just some academic talk about, well, are we free? Do we have free will?
So that actually was my next question.
Okay.
So you just you took my choice from me. That actually was, that's exactly what my next question was.